On top of everything, I never received a code to our suite, so people were able to come in and out while we were changing. Hey guys, welcome back to another week of me reacting to your wedding stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. This one's a long one, so let's just get right into it and see what we got going on. All right, it says, I had a special arrangement with my venue where I received a free extra hour and I was told I could come at 2 p.m. This was clearly stated in my contract. I had a DJ, photographer, some of the bridal party, and my family there as early as 1:30 p.m. I arrived around 2:05 p.m. since I got my hair and makeup done at a different location, only to find the doors were locked. I had to knock repeatedly until a worker finally came and told me my contract stated 3. I insisted that my contract specified 2, so he made a phone call and then said, okay, they said it's fine, as if he was doing me a favor. By then, it was already 2:20 p.m. and my timeline was completely thrown off. Anyone that books weddings, has been married before, knows that like every minute counts. Like, yeah, there's some leeway of like 5 minutes here and there, but like 20 minutes past that can throw off a lot. I was also promised an easel for my wedding welcome sign to guide guests to the ceremony room, but it was never provided. Additionally, I was supposed to have a day of coordinator, but they were nowhere to be found. That is a nightmare. That is a nightmare because you trust in someone else being there for you and doing everything for you and assisting you. When the day of coordinator isn't there, that's like your right hand is missing. Like that's not good. Because of the delay, we had to rush to add decorations. Honestly, my husband and I don't have much, and we are simple people. We didn't care for the over-the-top decorations. We've been together for almost 15 years, so we didn't really feel the need to prove our love. In fact, we weren't even planning to have a wedding, but our family insisted. They told us it's because we always go above and beyond for others and never put ourselves first, which is true. Sounds like they really deserve this. Since we were running behind schedule, we also couldn't access the groomsmen's suite. This venue, oh my gosh, I would be so stressed. Thankfully, the bridal suite was open. However, our day of coordinator was still missing. That is someone that needs to be there early, on time, there to see anything you need and be running around all over the place. The fact that they're missing is a little unsettling, actually a lot unsettling. And we needed them to show us how to connect the music. Because we were behind, I had to rush through my getting ready photos and my first look with my dad. I didn't make a big deal out of it because I still got some pictures and was happy with it. She sounds so laid back. I would be like freaking out. On top of everything, I never received a code to our suite, so people were able to come in and out while we were changing. No! For anyone that doesn't know, most of the times if there's like a bridal suite on site, they'll give you a code that only like you, your partner, some of the bridal party can know to like go in there, grab their things, leave like a purse, anything that you don't want other people accessing. Like mine had like a bathroom, so it was just for the wedding party. You know, it's just a safe spot where you can go if you need to, or be alone with your partner, you know? So to have people in and out, like guests being like, oh, hey, let's see the bride, you know, or people using that bathroom, like, come on, like, we need this code. My aunt was amazing. She stepped up and coordinated the wedding party, lining everyone up. So they still didn't have the day of coordinator to line up the wedding party. That is, oh my gosh, I'd be so mad. I waited in the suite until it was time to walk down the aisle. Just as I was lining up, I realized there's no music playing. I turned to my aunt and asked, where's the music? She informed me that no one had checked in or introduced themselves. I had no choice but to walk down the aisle in complete silence. I feel so bad for this bride. Yes, I get like she didn't want the huge wedding originally, but then when you do start planning and you have a vision and you have things like you want and you're told you're going to have all these things and then they drop the ball, that makes me so mad for her. I have severe social anxiety and I hate being the center of attention, which is part of the reason I didn't initially want a wedding. But at the same time, who doesn't dream of this moment? I wanted to run and hide. I cannot even imagine, like just crickets. Because then at that point without music, you're going to hear every single thing. Someone cough a little bit, someone drop something, someone walking up. You're going to hear everything, especially too if you have a videographer that's picking up those extra sounds. It's complete silence now. I wanted to run and hide, but I held onto my dad and kept my eyes on my husband. Good for her. That's really tough. Our officiant, who had an incredible personality, saved the ceremony by making us feel comfortable. She truly made the moment special. But still, I was robbed of a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So was my husband, who had picked a special song for me to walk down the aisle to. Oh my gosh. And still during all this, they're wondering, where's this day of coordinator? Who works in this venue that's going to help us? It sounds like no one's there helping them. After the ceremony, we had to rush through photos because I had a strict timeline and had hired a child entertainer for an hour. Our daughter is autistic and struggles with large crowds and big emotions, but she absolutely loves Glinda from Wicked. Same girl. So we brought Glinda to the wedding. We didn't have a child-free wedding because we love kids and understand how hard it can be to find a sitter. Even now, very few people can watch our daughter. To accommodate them, we set up the cocktail room as a play area for the kids. I love that. I think that's so clever. The venue had promised us access to music and projectors in the room so the entertainer could play videos. Our plan was for the entertainer to make a grand entrance, gather the kids in the play area, and keep them entertained while we made our entrance and had our first dance, ensuring no interruptions. I'm already oh no, I feel like I know what's going to happen. I'm so upset for her. Okay. However, right before we were about to start, around 5:30 p.m., so we're talking 3.5 hours in from when the whole thing started, we finally meet our day of coordinator. 3.5 hours? Are you kidding me? She had been sitting in her office the whole time. And the only reason we found her was because my husband knocked on her door. So she's just in there hiding out? What's going on here, girl? Her energy was incredibly negative. Nope. And she acted like we were inconveniencing her. So I don't know what she's going to say after this, but I'm wondering if they ever had a chance to meet her ahead of time or if they were just like, oh, our venue comes to the day of coordinator. Because here's the thing. I've been a day of coordinator many times, not tied to any venue. I had a day of coordinator and she was tied to a venue and she was amazing, but I met her beforehand. We had a full walkthrough of everything. We emailed multiple times before. She was so friendly. She was tied into management. So I think she was one of the managers. She was amazing. And so I was not meeting her for the first time. The same thing goes for when I'm a day of coordinator for a bride. I meet them multiple times. We have multiple Zoom calls. We have multiple chats on the phone. I'm their main contact. I would advise brides to always make sure you meet them ahead of time. And I know there's some rules with venues. Some are like, you have to use our day of coordinator. So what I would advise is be like, okay, that's great, but can I meet with her ahead of time? Because if that's your only option, you want someone that's really going to be there and excited for you and, just offer that extra helping hand because that's what a day of coordinator is supposed to do. So she acted like we were inconveniencing her. At that point, I had to tell her firmly, can you show Glinda where to connect her music since I didn't have any for my ceremony? I wasn't yelling, but I was definitely assertive. She just looked at me, turned around, and walked away like I had ignored her. I wanted to curse her out, but I didn't have the time. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for this bride. What is this day of coordinator's problem? Thankfully, my family stepped up because honestly, we didn't have much help. Most of my family worked at the wedding. 2 of my cousins were bartenders. My uncle was the DJ. Another cousin was the MC and introduced everyone. My cousin picked up our cake, which was 2 different locations across town. And my aunt basically became my real coordinator. She has an amazing family to be able to step up and just all take pieces of it. That's amazing. They all believed we deserved a beautiful wedding. We even stayed to clean the venue ourselves. I honestly didn't mind because I wanted to ensure that I held up my end of the agreement. At least one of them were. Thankfully, the people we love stayed and helped. Around 11:30 p.m., the day of coordinator finally showed up and actually spoke for the first time because I asked for her name. Sorry, what? So then there was that little interaction and she still didn't leave her office and help you? We're talking 11:30s when she comes out and says her name for the first time? No. It took 9 hours for her to introduce herself. And I was so furious that I forgot her name. But even then, I didn't yell or cause a scene. Of course, there were other issues like nearly getting into a car accident on the way to the wedding, forgetting my get ready outfit, the DJ messing up our entrance, and not playing our playlist. But at the end of the day, we got what we paid for. My uncle tried his best to be the DJ, and my husband and I made the best of it. Oh my gosh. I'm glad she was so positive. Hearing it now, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel terrible. But I'm glad she's someone that is so understanding, it sounds like. I don't know if I would have been just because you plan this day and you want it to be nice, but oh my gosh, I feel so bad for her. I've been fighting to get our security deposit back. At the end of the day, money can always be replaced, but I will never get this memory back. Nothing will ever truly make it right, but at least getting our deposit back would help provide some form of justification. My husband never complains or argues. He always lets things go, but the fact that he told me to call and demand our money back says a lot. Oh my gosh, that is terrible. I feel so bad for this bride. I'm glad she's able to think a little more positively about it, but this venue really let her down, and I would be demanding my deposit back too. They did not hold up their end of the agreement. They had a crappy day of coordinator who was so rude, hid in the office. Like, that's why we got to look at contracts. Like, we got to really look at contracts before we sign anything. I'm not blaming her because you trust people. I know I'm the same way with contracts. You're just like, yeah, they're good. But sometimes you have to look and be like, okay, do they actually have my best interest? What other people have had weddings here before? What was their experience like? Because you just never know. Reviews can say a lot. Okay, there is an update, and then let's see. Okay, management initially tried to gaslight me and make excuses for the coordinator. They claimed that someone had been there at 1 p.m. but had a family emergency and had to leave, yet somehow couldn't relay to the staff that the bride was supposed to arrive at 2 p.m. They also said the coordinators aren't required to introduce themselves or help with the AV system. Okay, here's also a thing as a day of coordinator. You are there to assist in any way possible. Yeah, I'm sure there's some things that are in our contract, like, oh, I can't do that, like whatever. But if I'm working with a bride and let's say we go over 20 different tasks that I'm helping her with, and then there's 21 tasks on the list and it's a random one we never talked about, you better believe I'm going to figure out how to do it. Maybe it's set up a computer system I've never even touched before. I'm going to try my best. Maybe it's to find someone that can help me using Google. I don't know what it is, but there's no way I would just ignore her or act like it's not my job. You're there to assist the bride. They even tried to claim that the coordinator had come to the suite and apologized about the access code issue, but I was supposedly practicing my vows. I told them that that was impossible because I couldn't find my phone and never got to practice. She never came in. Imagine being the coordinator and then lying about that. Then they tried to claim I had venue violations that justified keeping my $500 deposit. I reminded them that they breached their contract by not letting me in at 2 p.m. as promised. The day before the wedding, I had even asked if someone would be available to assist me, and the venue staff assured they would greet me and help. In the end, they refunded my full $2,000 security deposit. Yes, girl. At least I got some justice. My fiance and I made the best of our wedding, even though things didn't go as planned. The DJ messed up our entrance song and didn't play our playlist. A lot of people didn't show up, so we had more food, drinks, and cake than expected. But despite everything, we are finally married. We are stronger together and reminded ourselves that at the end of the day, what truly matters is that we have each other, our family, and the friends who genuinely love us. And most importantly, our daughter had an amazing time. Oh my gosh. Her response is so positive and so kind. And she's so right. At the end of the day, that is what it's about. And I'm really glad she got her security deposit back. But, oh, that is terrible. This is like a new kind of story. We haven't had a story about a venue dropping the ball or a Dave Cornier dropping the ball like this. So I appreciate the difference in story, but I don't appreciate that this happened to her. Brides, if you're watching, make sure you meet your Dave coordinator. Always double, triple check things. If you have a wedding planner, they should call the venue, call any kind of vendor you have multiple times, make sure things are good to go. Sometimes, there's miscommunication. There definitely could have been a family emergency, but then someone from the venue should have stepped up and said, I will be there and I will open the doors and help the bride at 2 p.m. There's really, no excuse for that unless it's like she was the owner. But the fact that she didn't come out and then introduce herself to the bride is just a whole other issue. All right, guys, that is all I have for you this week. But I do want to share before this is over, I'm really excited to share that next Monday or this coming Monday, April 7th, I am launching my Patreon account. Many of you guys have asked about me doing a Patreon account. So I finally launched one. Those that join my Patreon are getting a bonus podcast episode every single month, as well as some other fun content randomly. We're also going to have a exclusive Patreon chat where you can ask questions. We can, converse about stories and all that good stuff. And so be on the lookout for that. I've shared a couple of things so far in my stories, but the first 50 are getting exclusive launch pricing. So make sure you're one of the first 50. After that, we're just going to keep adding some more stuff. Every single month, there's going to be a new episode. First month, we were focusing on bridesmaids, all the stories, the confessions, the hot takes, and our wild story at the end, all to do with bridesmaid drama. And it's a good one. It's pretty crazy. All right, that's all I have for this week. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.